Hello and thank you for watching. This is going to be a WordPress tutorial video. We are going to cover WordPress in a network setup environment, although it is very much the same as using a WordPress standalone environment, the only difference being you receive a welcome email with a username and password in a network environment, whereas standalone you do your own kind of setup. Also, WordPress networks include plugins that are managed by the network administrator and work themes that are managed by the network administrator, whereas in a standalone environment you manage your own plugins and themes. We're going to start off by taking a brief look through the basics of getting started with WordPress, and then we're going to move into actually getting deep into the WordPress setup and installation. In a WordPress network environment, when your account is created, you receive two emails. The first one is your username and password. And here it's a basic email that I've created a demo account. It sets a password for you. We're going to show how to change that later on. You also receive a notification when you have a new site. Now this content, the content of this email is modified by the WordPress network administrator. We're going to be using social work portfolios as an example of a WordPress network through today's demo. And you'll see here that they have done some modifications to the email. Basically, it's telling us that they have an alternative method of login and authentication using a website and just a link. Using that kind of authentication, users don't have to remember username and passwords. Unless your site or your network specifically tells you that you don't have to remember your username and password, you're going to want to go ahead and use the username and password. We're going to go ahead here and go back and take a look at what it looks like to log in first without the username and password, but then we're going to go ahead and show using the username and password as well. So if you are in an environment where you don't have to use a username and password, logging in might look like this. Here is an online course for the School of Social Work. This is through online course management. This is managed through their school account. You might notice that there's a link up here that says click here to access your social work portfolios on the School of Social Work Portfolios Hub. If you click that link, and that link may look different for anyone, that's just the link that's provided for us here. It does take you, already logged in, to the Social Work Portfolios Hub. Again, this is a site that's specific to the Social Work website. The hub may look different depending on your own setup. So back here in our email, we're going to go ahead and click on the login link here. I'm going to really quickly double click on this password and copy it so that I don't have to type that all in. Here we're taken to the standard WordPress login page. I'm going to type the username demo as was shown to me in the email. And the password I'm going to paste. I'm going to go ahead and show that. I'm going to right click and paste that password. I'd like it to remember me, so I'm going to click that and I'm going to log in. Firefox also tries to remember the password for me. WordPress works best in Firefox and Chrome. If you're not going to use Google Chrome or Firefox, you may experience things that do not work correctly with WordPress. So do go ahead and try to use these browsers as they are free. Now that we're logged in, we're going to want to go to our own WordPress portfolio to go ahead and start looking at it. The way that we do that is by going up here to My Sites. You'll see we have a WordPress demo site. Ordinarily this will have your name if you are using this as a portfolio. Go ahead and click on that to go to our site and see what that looks like. We're taken here to our dashboard. Now this is running WordPress 3.6, so we're going to see a little bit of an update to the interface here. Previously, where you were given a more of a statistical type update, this gives you more of a getting started type update, which is really nice for WordPress users who don't have an idea of what they're trying to do. Getting started, customize your site. We're going to click that. The very first thing that we're going to do here is get started with a theme. This is the 2013 theme. This is a new theme to WordPress with 3.6. You notice it has a lot more color than the previous theme, which was basically just white with nothing else on it other than a sample page and a hello world. This theme, if it doesn't fit you, you can go ahead and change. Let's really quick, before we go ahead and do that, let's go through the basics of changing the site. Now, let's say I don't want my site title to be WordPress Demo. If I don't want my site title to be my name or WordPress Demo, I can change it to WordPress Alternative Title. You can change this again to whatever you want. That's an example of how that changes. The tagline here, we don't have to just keep it just another social work portfolios website. We can change it to an example website for a WordPress demo. If we don't want to display any headline or text, we can just uncheck that, and we just have the beautiful colors there at the top of the screen. Colors. If we want to change the header text color, we can do that. Change it really to whatever color we want. Something that doesn't clash is pretty hard to find with this kind of a title. Header image. If I want to change that, they do give you a couple different options here. I will say that the WordPress title menu bar is a lot different in 3.6 than previous versions, although it does give you a lot more customization. So let's go ahead and leave it on that. Let's go to a static front page. Now, a static front page is a feature that they did not previously include in the customization options in previous versions of WordPress. This allows us to set a static page rather than our latest posts. Now, we don't currently have one, but we're going to get back to this later. It is important to note, though, that if you want to set your website or your portfolio up as a website, meaning that you have a static home page with a welcome to my blog, etc., then you'd want to use a static page and select whatever page it is that you're going to want to use. In this case, I'm going to set sample page as my home page. If you wish to still have a blog, you can create just a blank page called blog and select it here. Since we don't have one, we're not going to select anything yet. I'm going to go ahead and hit save and publish, and then I'm going to hit close. Back here on our dashboard, this is kind of like, again, an overall view of our blog. We have one post, one page, one category. These are things that are created for us by WordPress, as an example. Under discussion, we also have one comment and one approved. Now, you have the option of turning approvals off, meaning people don't have to get your approval before they can post to your site. The only downside to that is that there is a lot of spam that comes through WordPress. If you allow people to just post that to your page could become spammed very easily. If you quickly want to publish a post, you can enter a title here. You can even add media from here, save it to draft, add some tags, or you can just publish it directly from right here. These are the recent comments that have been posted. Hello world, that's again from WordPress. If I don't want to approve that, from here I can just unapprove it. And now there's 0 approved and 1 pending. If I want to trash that, which I do, I'm just going to hit trash. And now there's no comments available. Once I clicked that, it took me over to the comments page. We're going to talk about these side links here in just a moment. I'm going to go back to the dashboard though and show you just a couple other features of the dashboard. Now, if you are not familiar, WordPress 3.6 has changed a few of the font options in WordPress. Next steps are we can edit our front page. This is the sample page that we've created. I'm going to go through and title that Welcome. I'm going to say Welcome to our portfolio. I'm going to go ahead and add in here an image, which I'm going to download from Google Images. We can use for this example. I'm going to type flowers. This looks like a good image, so I'm going to go ahead and download that one. Save image as. Download it to the desktop. I'm also going to download a secondary image here that we can just use as a headliner image. I'm actually going to download that one because that is really cool. Going back to our WordPress here, let's say I want to add a picture. It could be a picture of yourself if you're doing a portfolio, or just a picture of pretty much anything actually. Under the Insert Media page, which I'm going to click on that again, just above here we have a big Add Media button. WordPress has tried to make this as simple as possible, where once upon a time you used to have to go through, click on different types, whether it was add an image, add a video. They've combined that all into Add Media now. You have the option of either dragging and dropping files from your desktop into this window, or you can select files. I'm going to select a file off the desktop. I'm going to select this flowers picture. Notice when I double clicked on it, it automatically gave me a little upload progress bar, and now I have an uploaded file. Over here on the right, I have the option of titling this whatever I want, whether it's colorful flowers, I can also caption it if I choose to put a caption in. A lot of websites require alternate text. This is not as important in WordPress as it is in website design, but I'm just going to put flowers for that. As a description, I'm going to put some flowers that we found on Google. I have no problem with that today. Images. Now, if I don't want it to just go in the text as if I just placed it there like a piece of text, I can tell it where to be aligned. And what this means is that right now, if I put it in, it's just going to go to the very left like the next line of text would. If I tell it I want it to be centered, it's going to be centered. Versus if I tell it to go to the right, I can put it on the right. What's nice about that is if I want text wrapped around it, I can put it on the right, and if I write a bunch of text, it would wrap around the image. I'm going to go ahead and do none as my alignment. We introduced in WordPress 3.5 the option to link to media files. Previously, WordPress was allowing you to just have a link directly to the file. They introduced something called attachments. If you have a bunch of different attachments, you can put them into an attachments page. We haven't found a whole lot of use for that, but that option is available. Fortunately, they have set the default back to media file so that if people click on the image, it will just take them to a larger version of that media file. I'm going to go ahead and put insert into page, and there it is. Notice in 3.6 they've streamlined the way that you edit things. This is actually the caption we have here, and notice there's a flashing cursor. This allows me to just edit the caption directly from the text. I've edited that text, and I go back up here, and now we have our image there. Let's go ahead and publish this page. I'm going to hit update. Let's open up a new tab here with our website. Now, I've done the update. The reason it didn't show originally is I actually didn't click the update button. WordPress in 3.6 has changed the way they've done the revisions. What this means is that it saves every version of a page that you've seen. So for instance, if I make a ton of updates to a page, and at one point I decide, oh, I wondered what was previously on there, I can go back and restore that revision. It actually now has a pop-up view, compare and restore other previous versions of content. We're trying to make things as simple as possible. Notice that right here I have the browse button. This takes me to the a little bit of a slider here. I can actually drag this, and this shows the previous title and content. This shows the new title and content. So once you have 5 or 6 different revisions, you'll have a big slider with a date and time and everything right up here. It actually will show who made a change if you have more than one user on your site as well. All of this is very straightforward with WordPress. Some things they've done to streamline the user interface is included in this update. So going back to our website here, we're going to go ahead and refresh, and we should see our new welcome page. And there it is. Notice again, we were talking about if you click on this, that's what happens. WordPress has also done their very best to provide us with very simple ways to share media on our WordPress portfolios and blogs. Coming back here, we're going to go through the sidebars a little bit. We're going to go through the very basics of adding posts and pages, and we're going to go through and talk about how to customize the theme in a very basic way. Going through and adding a new page is as simple as clicking Add New under the sidebar. These sidebars are very self-explanatory. What you see is what you get, in other words. For instance, posts are where I manage my posts, media is where I manage my media, pages, etc. Clicking in, I'm going to add a page called Contact Me. Note that we have a very basic text editor here. I have options just like I do in Microsoft Word for bold, italics, strike through. I can do a bullet list if I want to. Click on this guy here, click on bullets. Now he's in a bullet form. I can do numbering. I can do quotes if I want to make it look like it was quoted. I can center it. I can move it to the right. I can hyperlink it. I click the hyperlink button. Gives me, I can hyperlink this to, I'm going to do mail to, because that's how you do email addresses. Now I have added a hyperlink. I can add more tags. So if you're doing a blog type form and you want to add a little bit of words and allow people to click read more to see the full post, I can just click that. And now you can notice it's actually giving me a graphic where it did not previously used to do that. If I want to do distraction-free writing mode, WordPress has added in 3.5, I believe, this large WordPress portfolio writing mode. This allows us to just work on our post. You notice that when you start typing, everything else fades away. If you choose to do Firefox in full screen, then you're just given literally the ultimate. Let's let that fade away here and see what we're looking at. Not sure if there's a way to make that disappear, but ultimately you're given a clean writing interface. That's a nice feature of WordPress that a lot of others don't offer. Going back now to our exit full screen and back to our post, I'm going to publish this post. If I wish this post to be underneath of welcome, it could be a drop down. If you're wondering how you do drop down pages, there's a page attribute over here on the side. I would just choose welcome as the parent, and then this would be a drop down of welcome. I'm going to demo all of that in the extensive version later on. If you wish to reorder pages, again, I would set this one to 0 and welcome to 5, and then welcome would be on the other side. We'll demo that later as well. If I wish this to be visible only to me, I can click private. If I wish to allow it to be visible to people who I give the password to, I can say password protected and do that. I'm actually going to demo that. Test is the password, and I'm going to hit publish. Now I'm going to go back to our portfolio here. I'm going to hit refresh. Notice we now have a contact me page. I'm going to go ahead and click that. Suppose it's password protected. I'm going to go ahead and type test, hit submit. Now we can see the contact me page. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. And we're going to go down to the next thing that I want to show you. Under the posts page, if you're wishing to do your portfolio like a blog, we have a default post here, hello world. Again, this text is modified by the administrators, and they want you to watch the tutorial video for social work portfolios, which is eventually going to be the video you're seeing now. If you want to add a new post, you can do so by clicking Add New. I'm going to title this My Very First Blog Post. In here, I'm going to add an image. I'm going to upload a file. Notice that when you first go to add images, it takes you to the media library. This is accessible via the media menu, media button on the left, as we talked about. It's also accessible when you go to upload things. Now, if I don't want to insert media directly, like if I don't want to have it all in here just kind of cluttering around, I can create a gallery on the side here. We don't have very many images, so we can't really do that. But if I want to create a gallery, I can upload more files. Let's demo that really quick. I can grab all these images at once, hit open, and now I have multiple images for that. So let's select all 4 of these images and hit create a new gallery. Now it wants me to edit the gallery to rearrange the order. I can do that by drag and drop, as it says. I can also caption them blue. double post. Let's move this around. Double post. And roses. If I can randomize the order by clicking this, and then every time the gallery is viewed, it will be in a random order. I can link them to an attachment page, or I can link them to the actual media file. I'll show you the attachment page in this instance. Now, right now, all you're seeing is a picture of a gallery. This is a feature WordPress included in one of its latest versions. Notice that they also have a format for your posts, whether it's a quote, link. They've changed this up a little bit, gallery. I'm going to leave it on gallery format since we do have a gallery here. Do note that it just saved a draft. This is automatic draft saving that has been added in WordPress 3.6, draft saved at 10:47 p.m. It doesn't wait for you to save the drafts on your own now. Now, if I want to categorize this maybe as galleries, I can hit add new category and hit gallery. I'm going to click add new gallery. If I wish to tag this, you can tag it as photos, pictures, gallery. Tags are not very that useful unless you have them implemented into your site, but you can sort things or search things by tags if you do wish. I'm going to title this gallery. Notice that it automatically changed the permalink to the title of your post. Now that I've changed the title, I'd have to change this as well. A permalink is the direct link to your post. For instance, if I want to give someone a link to a certain page and not just to my portfolio, I can give them the permalink, which I can find under the Edit Post page right here. I'm going to click on Publish, and then I'm going to go back here and view. Now notice we did set it to not have a blogs page, so currently we're not going to be able to see any of our posts. If we do wish to see our posts, we have to make a quick change. Leaving the post page, I'm going to go back to my pages and click Add New. I'm going to title this Blog Posts. You can call this whatever you want, the title is irrelevant. Click Publish. I don't need any information in here, and I'm going to come back up here and click Posts. Negative. I apologize. I'm going to click Dashboard, and I'm going to click Customize Your Site. This is where we initially started off, where we set the static front page. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to select under Posts page my blog posts that I just created. I'm going to click Save and Publish. I'm going to click Close. Going back here to our website, I should see a blog post page, and I do. Here it's going to show our latest blog posts. Notice there's two different posts here. This particular theme has made them full screen, and it's given me a post down here, as well as this very first blog posts. Notice that in the gallery, if I click on that, I have a gallery here of images. If I hover over them, I have the caption that we set on them. I can click on them, and here it's created us it's shown us the attachments page. This is nice if you don't want to actually link them directly to the large image. It gives you the title, the publish date, as well as a link for a full resolution. Now, this is the same exact link you would have viewed had you chosen media file to link them directly to the media file rather than the attachments page. Clicking back, we're going to go back to the attachments page here. I can actually click next through the images, and I'm given information on all of them, including the title. Notice that the option is here to leave a reply. If you do not wish for users to be able to leave a reply, we can turn that feature off. I'm going to click Edit and show you how to do that. Actually, right now we are on the Edit Media page. Currently, I need to go back to the actual gallery page and edit it from there. Now, back at our Edit Gallery page, we are going to want to scroll down Comments are disabled by default on this latest version of WordPress, so we're going to need to go ahead and turn them on. Oh, we don't know how to do that. Yes, we do. Screen options up here. Moved around a little bit in WordPress 3.6. If you click screen options, you'll notice that we can check something called discussion. Now you can see down here a discussion thing popped up. Both of these are checked, allow comments, but we don't want to allow comments, so we're going to turn that off. We're going to hit update. Back here over on our sidebar, we see that we have more options we need to discover and go delve into a little bit. Let's cover really quick appearance and how to change your theme, and then we'll go ahead and finish up this basic WordPress introduction tutorial. Now, if you wish to have more themes available, you can, if you're on a network install, you can ask your network administrator to install more themes. Or if you're on your own, you can just hit, there will be an Add New Themes button up here. I'm going to come down and activate this Cocoa theme, so we can show you what that looks like. Literally, setting the theme up was as easy as clicking Activate. Notice they all have an Activate button. I can hit Customize, and we're back under the same customization page that we had before. Notice the options on the side are fewer on this theme. It is up to the theme developer what they can put here. This theme developer did not have very many options available. Static front page, however, is built into WordPress, and that is still available. I'm going to go ahead and reactivate the 2013 theme since we like that one a lot better than the brown cocoa theme. That theme has been activated. So at this point we've covered how to set your theme. We've covered how to add a page, how to set your page as your home page rather than having your blog. We've covered how to add posts. At this point we're going to cover widgets, and then we're going to go ahead and finish the first part of this tutorial in the first 30 minutes. Widgets are quite basically the traveling help statistical things across your website. In other words, you can have a widget on your main page, you can have a widget follow across all the pages. Notice that we already have some widgets set up here. We're going to show you what those look like on our site by going to that. This actually took me to the customization page. I just want to go to the actual website. Notice here we have some widgets down at the bottom. The main area for this particular theme is on the bottom. The widget area depends on the theme developer, so your widgets could be on the side, they could be on the top, although that really rarely happens due to there being links up here. They are most likely going to be on the side or on the bottom. Let's say I take all of these links off. I can do that by, all the widgets rather, off. I can do that by dragging and dropping over here into the widget area. Notice that deactivate pops up when I drag it over. It disappears when I put it back. So I'm going to deactivate all of these, and I'm just going to put in a basic text here. This allows me to title that example text. This is a full HTML area. I can put HTML in here, I can put hyperlinks, I can do whatever I want. Hello world is my example text. I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to also add a calendar above that. Now, there is no save option on this page. Once I drag it over there, it's automatically saved. So let's go ahead and refresh our home page here. Notice that we only have two things here, our calendar and hello world. Now this will follow us no matter what page we go to. Contact me, blog posts, they're still there even on the blog page. So that can be handy if you want to have links to your Facebook or links to other things like that, or if you want to have certain kind of categories for blogs down there, you can do that as well. You might take time to read through what these do, categories, custom menu, etc. Archives of your blog posts, that kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. If I wish to title it, I can title monthly calendar. We're going to save that. Now at this point, we've covered all the basics of WordPress. We're going to go ahead now and jump into the extensive WordPress features. It may be worthwhile watching through this next part, as we'll give you a better idea of how WordPress works and all the different things you can do with it. We're going to cover uploading files to WordPress, including PDFs, and we're going to cover all the extensive features of reordering pages and that kind of thing. So let's take a look. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. I'm going to go through every feature here. Back here on the Posts tab, I'm going to go down to Categories. Here I can set up different categories. I already have one. From here I can edit, rename this to Main. This is an example of how you can edit the default category that's already there. Categories have a hierarchy, unlike tags, which allows you to have subcategories. So I can have sports as a category, and I can have a subcategory of golf. So if I want to talk specifically about golf in my blog post, I can tag that as golf, and it will show up under the golf and sports categories. So if someone wishes to see all your categories on, or your posts on sports, they can click on sports. Or if they want to delve down just into golf, they can do that as well. That's how categories work. Let's click on tags. Notice we do have some tags here. The nice part about this is if I tag something as photos, it'll show me all the posts that have that tag, so I don't have to have them separated out in categories this way. For instance, if I was talking about food, I could tag them as food, even though I may have different categories under which food could go, rather restaurants, or maybe I'm just talking about food as a part of the post. I can go ahead and tag that as food, and it would show up here as well. So that covers posts and all of the extensive features thereof. I'm going to click on Media next. This is where you manage all of the media that's on your site, whether it's documents to videos you upload or just images as we have here. I'm going to go ahead and save a PDF that we can upload here just to show an example. I'm actually going to take a PDF of this website just so we can have something to upload. Then I'm going to hit Add New Media. Notice I'm given the same kind of upload new media, drop files here or select files. And I'm going to click this PDF file. This can be your resume, this can be your example works, just random documents. It's always recommended you use PDF rather than documents for Word or documents for other types of files. The reason is because WordPress handles PDFs the best. Also, it's not guaranteed that someone viewing your files will have Microsoft Word, versus almost everyone can view PDFs. So once I've done this here, if I just want to leave that alone, I can do that, or I can actually click Edit. This allows me to caption this. I'm going to say caption as my resume. I can put a description, detailed, printout, website. I can update that as well. Now if I go back to my media library, I'll see that I have a PDF. Notice the document icon versus the actual preview of the image. Currently it shows where it's uploaded to. This one is unattached, meaning you have not actually placed that in any page yet, but we'll demo that here in just a minute. Other ways to upload media include just clicking on video files. Very few video files actually do work, so we're not going to demo that. The basic types do work, however, most WordPress sites are limited by size, so it's much better to upload your WordPress, or rather your video file, to a site such as YouTube or something like that, and then link to it, and we're going to demo that next. Coming back here to our media library, I think we've covered everything in regards to media, so we're going to move on to the next section. Notice that we can, really quick before we go on, we can filter by dates, so if we want to just sort our stuff that way. Also, if we want to bulk edit, we can permanently delete. That's our only bulk option here. But if we do want to permanently delete all of them, we can do that by just selecting this check mark and doing bulk actions. Coming down to our pages, which is the next area that we need to do, that we're going to demo here. We're going to show you how to reorganize your pages. So I'm going to actually add a new page. I'm going to call this example page, and I'm going to add my resume. Now when I click on Add Media, because I know that I've already uploaded it, here is my WordPress library alternative. This is the full title of my document. I could have changed that title when I saved it. If your title is resume2013.pdf, it will say resume2013.pdf here. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to title it my resume. I'm going to click Insert into Page. If I want it to link directly to the PDF, again, we're going to click Media File here, make sure that's checked, not Attachments Page, because I want them to actually be able to download the file when they click on it. Insert into Page. Now, because this is not an image, we're just going to see the text of my resume, because that's what we titled it. I'm going to move that down a little bit. Below, resume. Notice when I hover over that is clickable. If I want to retitle this, I can actually do that. Once I've added this, I can just click in here. I can title it, click here to view my resume. Notice if I click on the ends, it's probably not going to work. Actually, it did work. That may be a change they made in 6.5. Previously, if you type on the end, it would just type like regular text. So it looks like that's another improvement they've made. Over here on the right, we have a show or hide the kitchen sink. That's advanced text editing features that WordPress includes. They hide them by default because they don't want everyone to use them, I guess. I'm not sure why they hide them. But we do have the option of clicking down here and changing this to a different type of font. I can change this to pre-formatted. I can change this to different types. You can go ahead and look through the different types that WordPress provides. Paragraph is by default the default. If I wish to underline things, I now can do that from the kitchen sink. I can also align full. That was not previously an option. We don't have any text to demo that. If I want a colored text, I can just click here and color that green. I can also paste as a plain text, or I can paste from Word. Now, if you copy things out of Word, it's going to be formatted slightly different, but WordPress tries to accommodate that with a paste from Word option. We have a remove formatting, which will remove all formatting from your text. And we can have insert custom character. Now, if I click that, here's the custom characters that they allow. Let's see if they have my accented E. It appears that they do. I was trying to put that in, it wasn't letting me. So let's go ahead and delete that. I actually need two of them, but I'm not going to take the time to put them in. I'll underline that. Now we have accented E. And I'm a little too OCD about that. Notice we now have some accented characters in there as well. If I wish to indent something, it's as simple as clicking indent. It gives me a little bit of a tab there. I can also, hitting backspace does not allow me to get out of that because it is an indent. I can also outdent it. They have an undo and a redo and a help. These are all features of the kitchen sink, which I like to leave on at all times because it does give me extensive text editing, a lot more like Microsoft Word, and that allows you to really customize the text that you have on your page. So we've already demoed the visibility, so I'm going to leave that where that is. If I wish to save it as pending review, that's if you have multiple users. That really doesn't affect you unless you have someone who has to review all of your stuff. Publish immediately allows you to schedule posts. I can backdate posts. I can backdate this to May of 2013, and I can hit publish. Now, if I don't want this to show up in the title bar, there's a plugin that's been installed by the network administrator called Exclude Pages. I can uncheck that, and then this won't show up in the menu bar. However, I do want that to be available since I'm going to show ordering here. And we're going to come back out here and we should see that new page. Example page. There it is. Notice that the formatting followed. If I actually click here, it does show the PDF that we printed. Coming back here to our edit page, I'm going to really quick show how to reorder some pages. I'm going to do so by going back to my pages. And I'm going to select all of these. And I'm going to click edit. Actually, what this is very useful for is if you want to do bulk actions. Now, we're not wanting to do bulk actions to edit our ordering, but I will show you what this does feature. If I want to change the author on all of them at once, I can set the user. Now, we only have one, so that's not really useful to me. But we can also allow up to change the parent. So if I want all of these to be a drop-down, I can tell which one of these I want to be the drop-down, and I can change the parent all at once. I can also disable comments, which I do want to do, or I can change them all to pending, published, or draft from here. I'm going to update them all to not allow comments. Now they have all 4 posts been updated. It does say posts, even though these are pages. That's the way WordPress handles pages, like posts, except they function differently. I'm going to do a quick edit on blog posts. Let's say I want welcome to be my first page, so I'm going to set welcome to order 0, which it's currently at, and I'm going to set example page to be 5. I'm going to click update, and the order has been changed on sample page. Let's see what that looks like. Notice that sample page or example page is now to the right of welcome. Let's say I want a blog post to be the next page after example page. I would have to set a number higher than 5. So let's do a quick edit and do 10. The reason we recommend doing them in intervals of 5 is because this allows you to move things around a bit. If you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as your orders, and then you wanted to move things around, you'd have to reorder all of your pages, click quick edit on all of them, and move them all up. Versus right now, in intervals of 5, if I wanted to add a page between blog post and example page, I can just add it as 7, and then it will be between them. And I'll show how that works next. Refresh here. Now blog post is to the right of example page. But let's say I want contact me to be in between. So I'm going to do a quick edit on contact me. I'm going to set that to 7. That allows me to put a page in between 5 and 10. Contact me is now in between blog post and example page. Let's say I want it to be to the right. I'm going to set, or maybe I'm not. I'm going to set contact me to be 15, so it's all the way to the right. Think of 0 as being the left and the highest number as being the right. Now we have welcome, example page, blog post, and contact me in order. Let's say I want contact me to be a drop-down of blog posts. Let's show how that works. I'm going to do a quick edit. I'm going to do parent, and I'm going to select blog posts as the parent. It's been updated. Let's refresh. Notice contact me just disappeared, and if I hover over blog posts, I now have contact me. The same ordering scheme applies from top to bottom, 0 being the top, 10 being the bottom. And I'm going to show you how that works by putting example page also under blog posts. Example page, quick edit. Parent is going to be blog posts. Now, 5 is a lower number than 15, so 5 should be, example pages should be above contact me. Example pages is above contact me. So ordering works all across different drop-downs. It works all across different types of menus and that kind of thing. Let's really quick change example page, or rather contact me to be a drop-down of example page. Now since example page is already a child of blog posts, you're going to have what we call 2-layer nesting. Update this here. Now, blog posts, we only have example page, but if I hover over example page, we have contact me. So you can do really multiple layers of nesting of pages underneath each other. And that's how that works. You can just click on that and maybe contact me. Notice these dashes depict how deep the levels go. This is 2 levels deep, which means this is underneath of something which is also underneath of something. This is just underneath of something as it only has 1 dash. I'm going to scroll down here and click on comments next to cover the next section. That's how pages work. If people have comments, here we have a comment. Hello world is the default comment. I can either quick edit. There's also nothing in there. We're going to go ahead and trash that since I don't want to allow that. You can also approve comments from this page, and that's how comments work. Appearance. Again, we talked about this a little bit with themes. You can adjust your themes from in here. If you ever find that things aren't working as you expect, it's always best to try a different theme. A lot of themes are not maintained very well, and features may break. If you find that your features are not working in the 2013 theme, then it's possible it's a problem with WordPress, and you should contact your network administrator. However, if the feature does work in 2013 but does not work in, say, color shading, then perhaps there's a problem with color shading and you need to try a different theme, or you need to use a different theme. We're going to go ahead and, I believe we've already demoed the customize, which we have. So we're going to go ahead and demo menus. We've talked about widgets already. Menu structure is such that when you wish to make a custom menu, not one that's just managed by your order or that kind of thing, you can actually create such a menu, and I'll show how that works. I'm going to call this main menu, and I'm going to check all of my pages as pages in the menu. Now notice, right now it says most recent by default. If I want to actually view all my pages, I'd have to click view all. If you have 10 or 20 pages, you might want to search through them. Notice all the pages are in here. In this structure, rather than actually moving pages around, I can go ahead and just drag, rather than moving them around with order, I can drag them, drop them. Notice that I have 2 welcomes here. I don't want 2 welcomes, so I'm going to remove this one by clicking the drop down and clicking remove. I then have to just drag and drop this one up a little. Notice that when I move this around, it tries to come out a little bit, see it catches there. If I just leave it there, now it's a sub-item. That means, in other words, it's a child page of blog posts, and it's going to be a drop-down. This is a lot easier than setting parent and setting order. The only downside to using menus is that if I add more pages, they don't just automatically appear. I have to come into Appearance, Menus, and I have to add the pages that I've created to the menu. So it's a give and take a little bit. If you want the customization and the ease of moving things around, create a menu. If you feel like you're going to be adding more pages frequently, you may want to just leave it as is. And in that case, you would not have to keep coming into menu to add more pages. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Menu. Now, by default, this menu is actually WordPress has added a feature that they did not previously have. In WordPress 3.6, automatically add new top-level pages. This means this takes away the downside, and it will actually add new pages by default to this menu to the very end. Theme locations are navigation menu. We're going to show how that works really quick. I'm not going to check this because there's only one location on this theme. In other words, a theme may have a menu at the bottom of the screen and at the top of the screen. The theme locations allows you to just click whichever ones you want it to be. For instance, if there was a menu at the bottom of the screen, you would just check footer or bottom of the screen or whatever they chose to title it. In this case, I'm going to choose navigation menu since that's the main menu that we have. We should see Contact Me, Blog Post, Welcome, and Example in that order. Let's go ahead and refresh here. Contact Me, Blog Post, Welcome, and Example in that order. So that's a little bit different way of doing your menus, a lot easier definitely than using the order and parent child. I actually almost recommend you use this option now that they have the automatically add new top level pages, because this is going to be a lot easier than trying to organize them with order and that kind of thing. Again, another example of how WordPress has gone above and beyond to try to make this as simple as possible. Manage locations, I'm going to leave the page. Manage locations, there's really only one location for this theme, but like I said, if there were more, they would show up here. Header, this is where you can change the header if you don't want to use this header. You can upload your own image to this area. That's pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just leave that as is. Just hit Browse and Upload. And that's how Appearance works. Plugins are not really modifiable if you have a network installation. However, if you do want to install more plugins, you can install them on your own installation. These are all the plugins that are available but not activated on this WordPress network, quite a few. If you want to read through what they do or maybe research them, whatever your network has enabled is what you can use. Users, if you want to add users to your site, Just because you're on a WordPress network doesn't mean you can't add new users. You do have that option. Let's say you want to have a bunch of friends, you want to edit your posts, or you want to create like a little news network type thing, type blog. You can just add users. You can change the roles here. The roles aren't something we're going to cover, but they do offer subscriber, contributor, author, editor, and administrator. If you want to do that, do a little research on WordPress user roles. That will give you a better idea of what those do. Really quick before we go ahead and leave the users page, we're going to demo how to change your password. Notice that this is your user account here. If you go ahead and click on Edit, you can view all of the different things about your account, including your username, your first and last name, which is not in there, but you can add that as needed, any contact information for you, and new password. I'm going to just type. Gives you different password strengths, and you can hit update profile and your password will be changed. If you are graduating and let's say you're in a university in the social work department, a lot of departments will give you a password reset page. In this case of social work, it's just going to be students.s3pro.org/password. Pretty simple. This is a forgot your password page. Just enter your username or your email address, which if your university or your department or whatever your enterprise organization is, if they used your enterprise username, in this case it would be your university username or your university email address, your password reset link would go there. Tools, these are basically if you want to export your site outside of the network, you can just export all content or download export file. Shows up as an XML document. Just save it to your downloads. If you want to delete your site, you can also do that from here. Delete my site permanently. Settings are something we're going to talk about really quick. This is again an extension of what we talked about under appearance, where we changed the title and the tagline. This is another area. Basically, when you changed it under appearance, you were changing it here. It was just a simpler way of doing it. Settings are more advanced. Would not recommend messing with them unless you absolutely have to, or unless you know what you're doing. For instance, the time zone, UTC +0, we're actually in UTC -5, so I'm going to set that here. If you want to change the format of the date or the time, you can do that here. And the week starts on Sunday. Save changes. The general settings have been changed. Writing, you can actually convert emoticons like this to graphics, which is something WordPress included in a more recent update. WordPress to correctly invalidly nested XHTML automatically. Unless you know what that is, I wouldn't mess with that. Default post category, if you want to change the default category that posts go in so you don't have to change them, I can set all the default posts to go to gallery or whatever category I set up. Default post format, again, if you want to set a bunch of links, or if you have a bunch of quotes, you can set that by default, and that will just change the look of the post. Reading, I can see your static page. This is where we change static page or your latest post. That was under the appearance as well, the getting started. If you wish to change that under settings, you can do that under the reading tab. You can change how many posts show on the blog page, and you can show either full text or summary by default. If you don't want search engines to index your site, you can discourage that. That does not mean that they won't, but if the search engine chooses to honor that, then it's kind of like a do not track, request to do not track. Media, you can choose thumbnail size, media size, large size. This is adjustments of the actual sizes. If I want my medium size post to be 400 by 400, I can do that here. Discussion, this is where I want to change. This is about the comments. I want users must be registered and logged in to comment. This allows members of only members of the site to comment. That's going to disable any spammers from putting comments and spams on our site and that kind of thing. I can also automatically close comments and articles older than 14 days. An administrator must always approve the comment. This is just cutting back a little bit on spam and that kind of thing. Comment moderation. If you want to moderate them, you can set that. Comment blacklists. When any of these comment contains any of the words, when a comment contains any of these words in its content, name blah blah blah, it will be blacklisted. Avatars, these are avatars for users. We've already talked about media. Permalinks, if you don't want it to be the day and post name, you can just set it directly to post name, which I'd rather have. This is my site / example post for my example post, or welcome, demo / welcome. Click Save Changes under post name. So at this point we're going to go ahead and show you a couple more things before we finish. Going back to pages, I'd like to show you how to add links to other pages. So for instance, under blog posts, if I would like to add a link to my Contact Me page, I can do that two different ways. I can either click on type Contact Me. I can select that and click on my hyperlink button, insert / edit link. I can give a link to an outside website such as google.com, or if I want this to go to my Contact Me page, I can click or link to existing content. Here is all of my content, including posts. I'm going to click on, notice it shows me the date here for posts, or if it's a page, it just says page. I can click Contact Me. If I want it to open in a new window, meaning that when they click on that, their current window will still be open, but this will open another window, I can check that. I'm going to click Add Link and hit Update. Now if you remember a little while ago we created a menu. I don't want that menu to be my main menu since I worked so hard to organize these here under Pages with order and parent. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Menu, Appearance, Menus, and I'm going to turn that off of Navigation Menu. Now it should go back to my default here that I have set up. But let's say I want that menu to still be available. Maybe I don't want as many links on that. Maybe you have a ton of pages and you only want some pages on that menu. I'm going to come here under Widgets, and I am going to drag over Custom Menu. Here, I can select from the menus we've created, which is only one. I can say Our Links. Save. Now if I go back to our page here and I refresh, I'll now have a new Our Links with our actual custom menu. Note that these are the order that we had them in our custom menu, different than up here. Note that we're back to our drop-down pages up here, because we took off the navigation menu. And that is how custom menus work. At this point, I believe we've covered everything to do with WordPress. We've covered how posts work, as well as the categories they're in. We've covered how media works in regards to uploading. Actually, on that note, that did bring up a section of media that we did not cover. So let's go ahead and cover that really quick. I'm going to talk about uploading videos and how that works. I'm going to really quick download a YouTube video that we can use. I'm going to go to youtube.com and search government, because that's always a good topic to. Let's do Lindsey Sterling. You can't see what I'm doing, I'm just really quick downloading the video that we can upload. That's 151 megabytes. Let's download it in 240p. 21 megabytes, much better. So I'm going to grab the URL to this. I'm going to go to youtube.com over here for you. I'm going to search for welcome to YouTube. No, I don't want to subscribe. I'm going to search for Lindsey Sterling, and I'm going to click on her channel and go to her latest video, which is, well, it's most popular. I'm looking for latest. So I'm going to go to the latest showing. Get it added. Incredible video if you haven't watched it. Beautiful piece of music. I'll copy that URL. Notice that all I did is I came up here while I'm viewing it. Here we have the youtube.com/. I'm going to right click, hit copy. I'm going to come over here to my website. Currently I'm under widget, but I'm going to go back to pages. I'm going to go to my example page and hit edit. Now below my resume, I'm going to come down and I'm just going to go right click, paste. Now that's all I've done is just pasted a YouTube URL. WordPress is smart enough to know when you've pasted a URL from a video site such as YouTube or Vimeo or that kind of website. I'm going to hit update, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to click on refresh, and I'm going to go to my example page. Now you might notice that WordPress took the liberty of embedding that video for you. So even though all you gave it was a link, it knew it was a YouTube video. It's going to go ahead and play that YouTube video directly here in your website. If you do wish to upload that video, though, let's say you've made your own video and you want to upload that to your own storage rather than using a link like to YouTube, again, we must stress that this is important to make sure your video is small, because if you're uploading large videos, you may use it for space or it may not work correctly. So I'm going to go to Add Media, like we've done with the pictures in the PDF file. I'm going to upload files. This time I'm going to grab it from Downloads and demo that. Grabbing it and moving it to Downloads. I'm going to put that on the screen. Notice that we have all of our media here. Here's our MP4 file. Notice it only works with certain file types, MP4, MOV, web type files. You can Google what types of video files WordPress supports. I'm just going to drag and drop that in. Notice that it turns blue. Now we have an upload dialog box. Sorry, this type is not permitted for security reasons. So that can happen if your network administrator has not allowed certain video types because of, and I'm sure it's because of the size that comes along with videos. WordPress networks, social work portfolio networks rather, has chosen to disable MP4 files. They'd rather you use YouTube links. However, on normal WordPress installations, I believe the MP4 is allowed, and so you can go ahead and just upload your videos that way. It would pop up here just like a normal picture would, and you could just hit insert into post and it would embed the video that way. So that's how uploading videos works to your WordPress portfolio. Just going through here, we've seen that we've covered media, we've covered pages, we've covered how to do child pages, how to reorder them. We've covered, really quick, let's just go into one and make sure we've covered everything inside here. We've covered how all of the editing features work. We've covered how the attributes work, featured image, that kind of thing. Actually, featured image is not covered. Let's go ahead and cover that really quick. So let's say I want a featured image for my post. What a featured image is if you have a certain theme that would show a little preview of your post, you can set a featured image for that post. So if I'm writing a post on, if I'm a news organization, I'm writing a post on Apple and how Apple's stocks fell this week, I may choose the Apple logo and upload that as my featured image. Since we only have a certain set of featured images here, I'm going to just select that one. It will pop up down here as the featured image. So that may be useful if you have a certain theme that uses featured images along with your post titles. I'm not sure if this theme does, but that is where you would put the featured image. Update. Screen options, just make sure we've covered everything here. You can put them all into one column if you don't want to have two. That's useful on mobile devices. We've covered how to enable discussion. Custom fields we have not talked about. They are an advanced feature of WordPress that really nobody uses. Comments, if you want to add comments, this is not for comments on your page, this is for comments you may leave on a post for other editors. This is where you can also change the author. If you are the administrator, you can set multiple authors. Slug contact me is the, notice you have a slug here. This is demo, blog post, example page, contact me. Now you might notice that there's a bunch of different page titles here. This is because contact me is buried underneath. It's a child of example page, which is a child of blog posts, which is a page of our demo site. So that's how permalinks work when you have child pages. Go ahead and notice it just updated that, save the draft for me. I'm going to hit update. And we're going to go back to our pages. So we've covered everything to do with pages in general. We've covered how to do bulk actions. We've covered how to do quick editing and that kind of thing. We can set a password from here. Quick editing is really the way to go unless you're actually going to do anything to the content. If you're just going to change a feature or an attribute, it's really the easiest to do it from quick edit. We can go down here to comments. See that we've covered everything here. How to trash or approve them. Just hover over it and it shows. Just hover over it and it shows. I'm going to restore that one so we can just show that one more time. It shows approve, reply, quick edit, spam, and trash. I'll trash that. We've covered appearance and how to do themes. We've covered how to activate them by clicking activate. We've covered how to do widgets by just drag and drop over here into the widgets area. We've covered how to do things like custom menus and text and that kind of thing. We've covered how to do menus, how to create them, how to organize, just pull out to do child, just drag and drop, just pull over, pull left to go left, pull right to go right. We've covered how to set them as the actual navigation, or if you just want to use them as a widget, you can just uncheck that and use them as a widget. And we've covered how to enable plugins. We've covered how to change your password under users, and we've covered all the different settings that have to do with WordPress. This has been the WordPress tutorial video. Thank you for watching.